What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I'll be your host and producer, Logan Landers. Join me here today on the show to talk about the North Carolina State Wolfpack and their 2024 team preview. He is from the Elite Sports Entertainment Network, Jay McLevin. Jay, how you doing, my friend? And let the people know how NC State will do this upcoming season.
Yeah, absolutely, Logan. So NC State, I think they should get 8 to 9 wins, honestly. But they have a pretty easy schedule, Logan. So I could see them maybe even stretching a few more wins out of there. They could maybe even get a 10-win season in there. Tennessee is really kind of their strongest opponent, honestly. If they can survive losses till late September, this could be a very strong season for NC State. Like I said, I think Tennessee is really about the strongest one they got on that schedule. They got a head coach in Dave Doran, who's been there for 11 years. 4 out of the 9 seasons he's been there have been 4 out of the 11 seasons, 4 out of the 11 seasons, he's had 9 win seasons. He has not cracked 10 yet. So 4 times he's been in the 9-win season, but he has not yet cracked 10. This could be the year that he has the best year there and could crack 10 and maybe possibly a playoff berth, but that is very, very minute. So I wouldn't even consider that right now. Right now, if they could just win their division, that'd be probably the best thing for them. But 10 wins, it's doable. Then you look at 2002 was the last time they had more than 9 wins, actually. So it's been like 22 years since they've had a 10-win season. So a minute, Logan. I mean, I think these guys are kind of due. And they haven't been in the ACC title game since 2005. That was the inception. About 2005, I think was the last time they were in the ACC title. So it's been a hot minute. 10-win season, ACC champ, trip to the playoffs, all are reachable goals. Honestly, the defense is the key. It will need to reload. I think they have reloaded it. They were 0-3 when they scored fewer than 20. They're 9-0 when scoring more than 20. So that defense kind of sets the tempo for how well this team is going to do. Quarterback Jason McMinn, Coastal Carolina transfer. Not a huge arm, but he can locate the football, which is probably, if he can locate the football, I think that's probably about the best you're going to need. And he can scramble and extend plays. So not a strong arm, so don't look for that deep Hail Mary pass, but he can definitely locate more like a Tom Brady, dinking and dunking, right? So I think that's pretty much McCall's game plan there. Wide receiver Kevin Concepcion led the team with 71 catches and 10 touchdowns. DeCorey Collins is a dangerous deep threat. A UConn transfer, Justin Jolly, had 56 receptions last season. So he's got a fairly good receiving core to get the ball to. Running back Duke transfer Jordan Waters put up 1,420 touchdowns last season. So again, you got great receivers, good quarterback that can locate the ball, and then you have a good running back. Then they also have, before that, NC State had no running back. So last year there was no running back. So like I said, the defense pretty much told them how far they were going to go. And I think this year they have a better run game than they did. So that's going to be a huge component. The O-line will be good. Offensive tackle Anthony Belton is a future first-round draft pick in a lot of people's minds. The 3 other starters are back. And Notre Dame transfer Zeke Correll will start at center. So they should have a fairly good offensive line to give quarterback McCall a good length of time to throw the ball and find and be able to locate that ball when needed. The defense lost a few massive pieces, but should still be good and effective. They were 3rd last year in 3rd down stops, and they were 4th in interceptions. So hopefully with the pieces coming back and what they're going to add to it, they'll be able to do and produce the same type of level, if not better. The defensive secondary had 17 interceptions, Logan, last year that was spread out over 8 players. So they got a lot of guys over there, Logan, that can make plays in that secondary. Safety Devon Boykin had 54 tackles and 3 picks. Aiden White is one of the ACC's best cornerbacks. And Ohio transfer Jihad Carter will be a statistical star. So these guys have a great secondary. So that's not going to be, I don't think, too much of an issue for them. Linebacker Peyton Wilson did a little bit of everything, and he's going to be hard to replace. Jalen Scott is gone too as well. And between those two guys, Logan, was 212 tackles. So that's a lot of production you're losing in that linebacking core. So that's going to be, I think, a position to look at and watch. Their defensive line will be nasty like it was last season. David Vaughn was their best player in the backfield. Trevell Price has good size on the other side of the ball. And Brandon Cleveland and Colorado transfer Chaz Wallace got to hold up that middle. So if the D-line can do their job and the secondary does their job, the only real true position that could be a weakness might be the linebacker, and that's just because it's an unknown spot for them right now. Key to this season, Logan, would be getting the quarterback working often and early, get those quick passes in and out and get his rhythm going. Oklahoma transfer Hollywood Smothers has to get it done, so we'll see how that duo works. The key player for me is going to be linebacker Sean Brown Jr. It's hard to replace Wilson, but Brown is a safety that's operating as a linebacker. So it should be interesting to see how that works out, and that's going to be something to keep an eye on. The key game for me, and this I'll wrap it up with, is going to be Clemson on September 21st and also Tennessee. And I did not write down the date on that, but I think the Clemson and Tennessee games are pretty much their two key games the whole season. The rest of it's pretty much a wrap. If they can beat those two guys and get that door open, the sky's the limit for those guys, and they could get a playoff berth if they beat those two teams. The only thing that might hinder them, if they do beat those teams, the only other thing that can hinder them would be that soft schedule, and that might be the only thing that hinders them. But watch out for NC State.
Yeah, when I look at this team, as you mentioned, I think the month of September is going to be a big month for them early on in the season. That's when they face Tennessee on the 7th and then Clemson on the 21st. So that's two ranked opponents back-to-back, in the same month, with Louisiana Tech sandwiched in between. When I look at this team, I like Grayson McCall. I think he's, as you mentioned, he's not going to have the biggest arm, Jay, but he is one of the more accurate quarterbacks, not just for the team, not just for the conference, but really in terms of just college football. So love that in a quarterback. Like you said, the running room needs to do better this year. I expect that they will with the transfers that they've gotten, like you mentioned with Jordan Waters and Hollywood Smothers. I think that the running back room will pick it up as opposed to years past. They got some good players as well, as we know, out there on the wideout side. Like I said, with Concepcion out there, he won the Rookie of the Year in the ACC. He's impressive. Of course, you got some also good players like Noah Rogers coming over from The Ohio State. So I think the offense will look just fine this year. The defense, they've got some shoes to fill, as you said. They've got some pieces they've got to account for. I think that the defense will be fine. I think they might take a slight step back as opposed to last year because, like you said, when you lose the nation's best linebacker in Peyton Wilson, that's going to hurt your team no matter what. You basically have to find two guys to do the work he did or just kind of hope you get a diamond in the rough for someone who can help out. Guy who had 138 total tackles, 17 and a half tackles for loss last year. That's a lot to replace. Like I said, you got Brandon Cleveland who's going to try and get some work in. Like I said, secondary last year led the ACC in terms of interceptions with 17. You got Aiden White coming back. He's going to look good. So I think that for this unit and this team, it's going to look good. Last year, they also have a good punting game as well with Caden Noonkester. Led the ACC last year, over 3,000 yards when it comes to punts. So he's always set there. But I think that this team is going to be one of the front runners, I think. I think that they will look good out there in the ACC. And like you said, Jay, if they can beat really their two big opponents in Tennessee and the SEC, followed by, of course, Clemson, as we know, in the ACC, they should have a fairly easy run this upcoming year. I mean, of course, you got some other good units like Georgia Tech's got a solid program, North Carolina as well in the rivalry game, California, just a couple others that are going to be on the schedule. But this is a very favorable schedule for the Wolfpack if they want to, as you said, get to 10 wins, which they have not done in a while. It's been quite some time since this team got to that double-digit wins. This is the season to do so, man. This is the season to do so. I think that, they've lost some pieces. they've also gained some really good ones too. So I think the NC State, really good year. Will they be competing for an ACC championship? Honestly, Jay, I'm kind of leaning that way.
Yeah.
I think they can get there. Wouldn't surprise me one bit with the team that they've got. So I think that if you're an NC State Wolfpack fan, I'm expecting some big things this year, and we'll see what Grayson McCall and company can do in 2024. Jay, as always, my friend, appreciate you coming on the show. I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Guys, we'll talk to you again on another